think it's live. There we go. What's up, YouTube? I think I'm live right now. I don't know if it's YouTube. I think I'm live right now. I don't know if it's maybe I should give me a second. I think I'm live right. Let me figure that. Okay. So there's a little bit of a delay here. Man, this snow and this rain just won't stop here in Ohio. So what's good? What's good, everybody? It's good to see everybody. Sorry about the if there's a little bit of latency, a little bit of delay, whatever. What's going on, Timmy Webb? What's up, Dan? What's up, Dominic C? It's good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. What's up, McBride Racing? 454 Kings. Jason Alexander. It's good to see everybody. Let's let this populate a little bit before we get into our discussions. But once again, there's always that disclaimer that if the live stream does kind of stream and freeze or whatever, it usually 99% of the time comes back. So just stick around. But sometimes the internet here in the cold weather is sketchy. What's up, cousin Paul? Tommy Davis, Stangman. Almost done. Ran out of gas. So McBride Racing is the folks over there on the channel that have been messing with my white car. If you guys watched the last week's video with one of the best mods, it showed my car when behind the trailer, whatever. We took it to McBride Racing to finish the cage. They did some 1 5/8 chrome moly, which if you guys don't know what chrome moly is, it's lighter and I think it's stronger than mild steel. And I think Dokal R8 is pretty light as well. So usually when you go to get a cage, it's more money. The material's more money. It's lighter. Obviously, it's stronger. Than mild steel. Mild steel is pretty heavy, but thankfully we had some chrome moly there, which is good. What's up, Daniel Robinson? One of my Summit techs. It's good to see you. What's up, Pimp? What's up, MJP? Mike Sherrill. So welcome to Neil Mustangs. If you're new here, consider subscribing to the channel. We try to live stream every Sunday night usually. Usually we have a theme. Like this week's theme is going to be kind of a little bit of a mix of between a few subjects. Specifically one that I went to this weekend. That's why it's on there. Obviously, we're going to continue our discussions with junkyard picking and such. I had a list, and I completely forgot to bring it over here. So, and the main subject of the evening, for the most part, is going to be the Fox Days of Christmas. So this isn't the giveaway itself. It's not even a giveaway to begin with. As far as, it's just more, it's today isn't the giveaway. That's what I meant by that. So it's a giveaway for, all the monetization that we've gotten through the year. All the subscribers, all the people with super chat, super stickers, super thanks, watching the ads, watching the commercials and stuff like that. And specifically, the sponsors that are involved in the channel also like to give away stuff to the channel in the foxbody community. So all that stuff stays in the channel. Just big shout to, Adventures with Super Dave, $20 super chat. That stuff goes towards this Fox Days of Christmas. So if you guys aren't sure what I'm talking about, is last year, myself and Brutal's channel, we gave away a whole bunch of Fox body parts. I think we gave away about 16 parts in specific. I shipped them all the very next week. We gave away things like subframe connectors, a ram clutch. We gave away, a Stifler's, which sponsors the channel. Stifler's, like cross member. I think we gave away a Stifler's drive shaft loop too, if I'm not mistaken. No, cross member and I think a drive shaft loop. I'm not mistaken. Hanlon will probably be in here in a minute. But another discussion that we're going to talk about tonight is the quarter horse. So I probably will discuss this again in a video and in another live chat. But we are going to talk about tuning. As there has been a significant change recently with the ability to tune with your Fox body, and we'll get into that a little bit more. So anyways, McBride Racing, I'm going to shoot you some pictures. Okay, perfect. Lenzo, a budget turbo build What size injectors and rocker arms? 172 do stock push rods. Yes, so 172 rockers will fit just fine with the stock rockers, but consider that you'll probably have to go with a little bit longer push rod. If it sounds like a washing machine when you first start it, and once your lifters pump up and it's still tapping quite a bit, those rockers like to make noise to begin with, but it doesn't hurt going from a 6 and a quarter to like a 6.30 push rod. I actually added like 5 thou to my push rod length, and it ended up making a huge difference. So, Dan, what's up? Got an 89. I'm home. I'm doing foxbody. There you go. What's up, Bama 50? It's good to see you, brother. NJC. I still love the quarter horse. So, what's up, David Willis? I ain't seen you in a while. It's good to see you, man. So let's talk about. First off, I want to give a real big shout out to the guys in green here in chat. Those are guys that are my club members for the channel. So I want a big shout out to them as I'm going to start actually putting people's names in my videos of the channel members. It's going to be one of the perks. We're going to kind of scroll it at the end of the video. So we're going to start making a transition, and everybody's going to be able to see who has donated to the channel. So I do appreciate all my guys in green. That's one of the perks of being part of the channel, is having the icons and having the name in green when we go live and in the comments. So big shout out to Stiflers, Hanlon Motorsports, Trick Flow, Summit Racing, Craig Automotive, Dave Belt with the tuning, just to name a few. Mosier, sponsors of the channel, MAF Racing. You guys see the crash bars and stuff like that. So we got something else we want to talk about too tonight that's going to be coming in the mail, as well as we've made a decision with the white car on one of the issues that we're getting. So one of the issues that we've been having this past year. What's up, James Salter? What's up, Kyle Daniels? What oil pickup are you using for your 351 double sump pans? We're just using the one that came with the Moroso pan. Thinking about switching from stock rockers to 1.7s. How big of a lift can I get before I need to worry about piston to valve? You're not going to have to worry about piston to valve with the rocker arms. You just go ahead and send it, bro. For the most part. Make sure your springs can handle it. Who else we got here? Hello from, how are we doing? Was that, is that Jaman Martin? Sorry if I messed that up. Big shout to Lenzo, man. Thanks for the $5 super chat. So, Lenzo actually made a comment in our old A9L tuning video. For those of you guys that don't know, my black car made 7-something horsepower to the wheels, and we use a factory harness A9L. We're on a Motes quarter horse chip. We're on binary editors, old school 20-year-old technology with tuning. Is it optimal? Well, no, but it works, and it works really well. My white car, same thing. We've been on an 89 harness, A9L, Motes quarter horse, binary editor on my laptop right here for years, and we've been tuning for years. Now, the issue that at hand now is the fact that Motes quarter horse is no longer available. So if you have one, if you have the ability to get one, I would suggest, getting one secondhand, because the supply chain is just crazy. So like, just to get chips, we're a year plus out. And we went to order some for our own personal use, and there just wasn't, optimal. When I say we, I mean, people that were trying to get into tuning and stuff like that. So just, they're no longer available. So that means if you wanted to get a tune, you have to follow, you have to go get an SCT chip, 4-bank eliminator or whatever. So, problem is you're just not going to be able to get quarter horses and self-tune anymore unless you can get one, like I said, secondhand or whatever. So sent a Facebook, should be really ready to pick up Wednesday or Thursday. Perfect, man. What's up, Blue Collar? Hanlon Motorsports in the house. Just popping in to say hi. Not feeling the best, so I won't be sticking around tonight. Hope everyone is good. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. Hey, I appreciate you stopping in anyways, Hanlon. Thank you so much. Big sponsor of the channel. Hanlon is actually going to be one of the people that are going to help me with my channel with the with the giveaways, or the Christmas Fox Days of Christmas. I don't like to call it a giveaway. It's a Fox Days of Christmas. It's just the way it is. I got about 30 things we're going to go through over here. Some of the ideas I have for Fox Days of Christmas, and maybe we can add some a little bit later. But anyways, I just wanted to mention that the the quarter horse binary editor is kind of going off to the wayside. There are some options out there. We will talk about tuning. We will talk about other options that you can have. As you know, that the Terminator X is no longer available. Well, so you can kind of see the whole pattern that's starting to go here. But there are things that you can do that you can do yourself and get somewhere with your fox body or whatever. So what's up, Donnie B? Donnie B from Anderson Ford Motorsports, another sponsor of the channel. It's good to see you, Donnie B. How you been? Any ring gap in a budget turbo build? Just go with like 25. That's not really that big of a deal. If it's a budget build, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think we're at 25 with drop-in rings with our 387. NJC, looks like old stroker and fat cam and route instead of power adder, since government doesn't like tuning anymore. Well, yeah, I mean, it's getting, NA builds are always been strong builds to begin with, but if you have the ability to self-tune with binary editor or Terminator X, and you can go out there and purchase these items. There's also an adapter that you can buy. We'll talk about it maybe in another day, but there's another option with the stock harnesses that we can talk about. Maybe we can look into, maybe do it on the channel. I'm not real sure where I want to go with that. Donnie B knows what I'm talking about. I'm not real sure if I want to, plug that in and try it. Either way we look at it, we will see. Okay, so one of the, as you see on my thumbnail, we're already talking about Fox Days of Christmas, but we'll save that for the end. Junkyard picking, we'll talk about that as well, as I want to kind of revisit what we talked. When we do a bunch of work on the whiteboard, I always like to go back to it the next week, just so people that weren't here last week can see. So we'll revisit this thing. We've been talking a lot about Junkyard. We've been doing some Junkyard picking videos, so it's kind of nice. As far as what was it? So swap meet. Let's talk about the topic. One of the topics of the evening. Last week we went to the swap meet, which was the annual Ford, Ford swap meet. It was they had one in the spring, and they had one in the fall. It's held in Columbus of Ohio, and we've been Ohio. We've been going to the swap meet for like 20 years, 15 years, or whatever, off and on. It's usually a pretty big event, but it's, since the, when Craigslist was big, so wasn't the swap meets. And it was kind of nice because it was like hand and foot. And swap meets is kind of, where I really got into the whole collecting parts and parts restoration, because I already had a ton of them to begin with. And, I would just take just a whole trailer full of parts down to Columbus, and we would sell really well. It's kind of nice to see this past week. There used to be 4 buildings that we would, let me get into these chats, and we'll talk more about it. But swap meet is definitely something that, I miss a lot, and we're going to talk more about what we did this weekend. Oh boy. KP, how about standalone engine management like Mega Squirt? I had an Audi, I had it on my, so Micro Squirt, Mega Squirt, or what's up, Jordan? Micro Squirt, Mega Squirt have their own, tallies as far as like, the user-friendly ability to tune and whatnot. So, I mean, if you know about tuning, you shouldn't have a problem with binary editor. But Terminator X obviously is a plug and play sort of system. I think Anderson Ford Motorsports sells the kit in the pieces, or kits of the pieces, or whatever. It's a pretty self-learning, drop-in kit for a Fox body. And if there was an issue, obviously the Terminator X would probably already kind of correct that or whatever. But anyways, there's definitely some solutions for standalone. Tuning is still a viable option. I think you can still go to a dyno, and correct me if I'm wrong, Donnie B, but I think you can still go to a dyno tune, burn a chip, and the chip still works. I think they still sell the Eliminator chip. Again, it's supply chain's a little bit hard to get right now, so chips are a problem in the brand new vehicles. That's one of the main reasons why they had an issue in 2022, with the new trucks and such. So Kyle Dennis scored a beautiful 351 Windsor from a yard for, man, I'll tell you what, dude, that's a hell of a pick. Good job. Good job. What's up, Matt Koning? Larry Tonini, how we doing? Super Dave, let's see it real quick. Let me see real quick. Okay. So I have the ability to buy somebody's Terminator X for $1,300. I was thinking about buying it and putting it on the shelf. I don't know if he sold it or not. So that might be something that I could probably get from him, because he's going to stay carbureted. And that might be something that I could offer to the channel at some point. Because I think it's the 937F kit that was purchased before he wasn't allowed to be or whatever. So NJC, dyno tuning is always better than guessing. That is correct. What pimp say? Oh, yep. So 90 coupe with SN95, with a SN95 5-lug swap, what size tire and rim can I go without rubbing? Is that the front or the rear? Or both? So anyways, going back to this past weekend, we went to Columbus for the annual fall swap meet. And it was in I think it was called the O'Neill building. It was packed. I think the Voinovich building was in front of it. Now we're talking about the Ohio Expo Center. So this is like the fairgrounds. It was pretty much full. They both were pretty much full. Like, I scored some pretty good deals. I usually go to find like little things like speaker grills and knee bolsters and cluster bezels. And I love the restore dashes, as you guys already know. We do pretty good with that. Cousin Paul does as well. Does an amazing job. Console frames. I like to restore interior pieces, because at this age they're getting all beat up and faded anyways. And I just look for deals and such. So we picked up some quarter windows, just random stuff. And you go to a swap meet, it's just like it's exciting because it's an annual swap meet, and usually the fall here in Ohio, it's kind of a big deal. You can really pick up some good parts. There was another gentleman that also does some eBay stuff like I do, that had just bags of like switches, and I just wanted to buy them all out. Like, I just was like, man, I just want to buy them all. But I know that he didn't come to the swap meet to sell every piece that he had. He just came to the swap meet with a chunk of what he had to get rid of a little bit of it. You know what I mean? Because I like to just buy whole piles of parts. I'll just go in and be like, what do you want for all of it? Instead of having to pick through it. So, but there's really some good deals to be had. There was like 3 or 4 or 5 sets of aluminum heads I seen down there for I think the cheapest set was like $900, and then a couple other sets were like $1,200 and $1,500. There was a set of Brodix heads, a set of Holly heads, RPM Edelbrock Performer heads, which are like good entry-level heads to start with. Several sets of GT40 heads and intakes, which I missed out on. My buddy Nate scored them before I did. But swap meeting, man, I'm telling you what, swap meeting, imagine like scrolling through Facebook Marketplace for car parts and just finding it all at one spot. And it wasn't just foxbody stuff. It was like anything from all the first generation Mustang till new edge stuff, S550 stuff. So there was quite a bit of stuff there. What's up, Mike Straminsky? It's good to see you, my man. We were just talking about swap meeting. With 4-lug, I was able to fit a 275 17 Cobra reps. Okay, so I'm going to answer old boy's question right there about SN95. So on the front, when you do an SN95 conversion on the front, you usually gain that back spacing to be able to, I know that the SN95 front brings the spindle out just a little bit, brings the rotors out a little bit. You still, considering the fact that you're still going to have to run a spacer on any wheel that's like 6 1/4, 6.5 back spacing in the front, anything pretty much from 6 inch and deeper, to be able to clear on the SN95. Now on the rear, consider the fact that the rear SN95 axle is 3/4 of an inch longer on each side anyways. So you could run a pretty nice fat tire and fat wheel in the back with a good back spacing and have not have much issue. Even if you were worried about, you know, back spacing and being too much or too little, you can even run a 7-inch back spacing back there with an SN95 axle. So you can run a big tire. Just depends on your, you know, everybody's setup is a little bit different. So, you know, judging that back spacing would be be very difficult without knowing all the like exact dimensions. So what's up, Fox Addiction 216? What would you expect to pay for a used Dart Type 302 block? Or can you even find a World Product Dart Ford Racing blocks new? I don't know. I don't think there's a big back order, Mike, on the darts. Yes, because the foundries got messed up or something. As far as the Ford Racing blocks and the World Product blocks, I don't think there's much of a back order on them too much. And maybe even consider running like Speedmaster. What's that one block, Daniel, at Summit Racing? Since he's one of the main techs there on the floor, what's that cheaper version? That is it Speedmaster or Speed Pro or something like that? Speed Pro's a piston, but is it the same company? Do you know what I'm talking about? So, what would you expect to pay for a used one? Well, a good block is anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 bare. So I would expect to pay at least $1,500, depending on if it needed bored or honed, which you should probably do anyways, Mike. So, you know, like I bought my 363 block used from my buddy Mike, who's probably watching. What's up, Mike? We had to actually hone it 5 thousandths over because the motor that it was in it had a couple melted pistons in it. So it kind of took the wall out a little bit, but we were able to clean up the hone. It's actually a 365, technically, just like my 408's actually technically a 410. But the fact of the matter is we took it to a 4130 bore, and it wasn't much of an issue. And I've been pushing that block. Used blocks, I wouldn't really worry about it. I haven't seen, you know, an aftermarket block get split in a while. Dart just bought new foundry for Ford block. Nice. Yeah, probably because there's no reason to sell. Why did you find one that's used? Yeah, Speedmaster is the like the cheaper version. The nice thing about Speedmaster is it's just as good, if not better, than something else you can buy, like a Dart or Ford Racing, for the most part. I mean, without getting technical. Would love to hear more about the Summit block. Anyone know the name and how many ponies? Daniel Robinson here in chat, Mike Straminsky, is one of the, he's been at Summit Racing for probably, what, 10 or 15, 20 years? Something like that. So he's one of the lead techs. He's the guy you walk into and he finds the parts for you on the website. So if you have a question, he's here in chat. Speedmaster block he just got. So Jason, would a Crown Vic 5.0 302 auto engine and trans work for a fox body? And would I need a computer and wire? So the Crown Vic, I don't think that's an HO motor. If you could find a motor that's not fox body, you would want to find a Cougar or a Thunderbird 5.0, because I'm pretty sure those are both HO motors. And they're pretty much the same as a Mustang motor minus the upper intake. I mean, there's other differentiations to it as far as like the pulleys and such, but I don't think Crown Vic. I think Crown Vic took the same motor as the truck, which had cast pistons in it. I don't even think it had the roller timing. Did it have the roller? So should I ditch the quad shock? You could actually flip the quad shock. You know how the fatty area of the quad shock, when you put the rear on, the rear wheel on, you know how it kind of hits? You could actually flip the quad shock and be able to still carry the quad shock and put a big wheel on. So, or just get rid of it. Sean Inman, does anyone know what size push rods would be needed for Anderson N51HR cam? That's a Donnie B question if he's still here. Blueprint has announced that they have a block coming out. Nice. What's up, Q Force? I got the aluminum one, SBO mains. It was $3,500. Jeez. So anyways, we're talking about swap meets this past Saturday. I had a good time. Like, I would really suggest, if you got an opportunity to head to a swap meet, just to kind of you know, browse around. You can find some really good deals there. You can find just about everything for a fox body. I wouldn't say fenders and hoods and hatches, but because nobody likes to carry that stuff to the swap meet no more. I used to carry that a long time ago. Yeah, Harley, that's what I thought. I'm not really, you know, I know Crown Vics, but I don't think they had the same roller motor as the Thunderbird, Cougars, and Mustangs, correct? Sean, stock length should be good for those heads. That's what I figured. And that would be 6 1/4 inches, by the way, on an 8.2 dick. Hell yeah, they are, Lamar. So I ended up taking my kids. Like, they got an opportunity this past weekend to go see what their dad did for like 10 years. And it's funny because I was with my family. I was with Cousin Paul too. And, you know, Cousin Paul's got a keen eye for some stuff in some piles. We went to this dollar pile and we were picking all kind of shit out of this little dollar pile. But my kids got to see it. And I remember my son laughing because we would come home with a substantial amount of money from the swap meet naturally because we had like 5 spots and like shit tons of parts. And my son would, I would make my son, you know, count some of the money because he was like 5 or 6 years old. So it was kind of nice because he would learn how to count money at a young age when I would come home from the spring and the fall swap meet. So it's one of those childhood memories he's going to have of his dad. So it was kind of nice. He's like, so this is what, because he never got a chance to actually see what I did. He's like 13 years old now. And, you know, I finally got a chance to take those, you know, my kids down and see, you know, just one of the things that we did, you know, as a hobby and have a little fun with. So I usually go to swap meet just so I could buy good Christmas gifts, but it got into the part where I just started getting rid of parts. Non-HO E6 heads. That's what I thought, Nate. Are there not China blocks? They're made in Australia. Are they? Speedmasters in Australia? So if you guys are wondering what they're talking about, Mike Straminsky asked about a used aftermarket block, and Dan Robinson was, he works at Summit Racing, so he was filling them in on the Speedmaster. You need to contact Hanlon Motorsports. I've already forwarded them your information, so. What's up, Lawrence Adams? It's good to see you. So, anyways, moving on. Swap meet, basically, at this point, it's like Facebook Marketplace is, you know, like taking over. You know, it's swap meet has, you know, the older guy, you know, the older guys would tell me down there at the swap meet for years, just like, you know, you could watch it dwindle. Like for years, it was like 4 buildings. It was the Voinovich building, which is big. That's where all like the vendors were at. So you would have like Mustang Unlimited would come in there. When I think Mustangs Unlimited is gone now, but you would have Boss hoods. You would have you know, big vendors come into that building there. And then the O'Neill one behind them was usually pretty full. There was a car corral where it was like an open like parking lot. What I think it was like a horse gallery or galley or whatever, where they like, you know, ran them in a circle or whatever. But they would park trailers and cars out there for a car corral. And then you would have the Aghort building, which is huge. That's where I used to be. And then the Buckeye building. I mean, there used to be, you know, 500 vendors at that. Now it's kind of down to like 150 to 200 vendors. And you could kind of thank Facebook Marketplace for that. But I mean, Craigslist, I don't know. I miss that sort of stuff. It was always a good time. I don't know if you've seen that, Mike Straminsky, but it's on sale right now for $2,200. Speedmaster. That's a pretty good deal. So anyways, let's move on to the next thing we were going to talk about, which is junkyard picking. So last week we talked about junkyard picking. As you guys seen in my last couple videos, we actually had already cleaned up those spindles. We picked GT40 heads, GT40 intake. Always a good thing to, you know, always good to have if they're out there in the junkyard. But for fox bodies, we did a price like kind of like a price list last week, like this. And then when we did this price list last week to kind of help you guys, this is what you should probably consider that you're going to pay for junkyard parts. So, and these are all pretty much upgrades for your Fox Body Mustang and SN95. So we did pretty good work on this. I'm going to go ahead and slide this over so you guys can like kind of see it maybe if you guys want to look at it. We did a lot of work last week on it, so pretty sure you guys can see it. Maybe. Anyways, like if you ever go to the junkyard and junkyard picking, this is what we worked on last week. You could expect to pay like $125 for a set of GT40 heads if you pull them, like 45, 50 bucks on the intake. You probably get the whole motor for like 250. And like I said, we're just reviewing what we did last week. 350-watt roller motor, 94, 98 is kind of a good steal because you can get it anywhere between. Well, hell, one of the guys here in chat just said he got it for 150 bucks. That's a hell of a pick, man. A 351 roller motor, because that motor right there is strong to 1,000 wheel, or excuse me, 1,000 crank, 800 crank, 900 crank with a good tune. And you know, you could actually build that motor. That's why I've really been leaning towards 351 roller motors or just 351 Windsors themselves, because of just the block strength itself. You know, it's just, you know, when it's time to say goodbye to the 302 because it's blowed up or split or, you know, just, you know, not working for you, you know, that would probably be your next best bet. Spotted an Aerostar drive shaft at the yard. Was it an all-wheel drive? Must had to have been an all-wheel drive. I appreciate that, Lamar. What's up, Frank Three Stings? I know I seen you pop in. Sorry about that. So, you know, again, you know, if you where a 351 Windsor swap really kind of shines is if you're at the point in your 302 or your Fox body where you're ready for something else, and you know the 302s like needs rebuild anyways, or it's split, broken, whatever, it's just not working out for you. That's when you should really consider trying to pick, you know, a 351 Windsor cheap, and or keep your eyes out for when that might happen, because at least grab it, put it on a tire, put it in the back and cover it, because you never know when you might want to use it. Because I'm going to be honest with you, you could take the long block of a 351 Windsor and drop it right into a Fox body, convert the parts over that you need to do, like as far as the, you know, the oil pan and the intake and the distributor and such like that, and you could make some good power bone stock. You got to deal with the intake situation too, and exceed a 302 and be able to build into that motor where it's going to take a lot to split it. You see what I'm talking about? I know it's got cast pistons in it or whatever, but cast pistons are fine until you start making some serious power, and then they start kind of not being as strong. You see what I mean? You can get factory, sure. Yes. Okay. Might be time for a 351 Windsor anyways, Mike. The headers bolt up just the same. This is a plug the bolt. Okay, so House of Windsor. That's right. That 351 Windsor I pulled out is going to be built into a second 387 as a spare for my drag car. So yeah, that's what he's talking about. If you don't know what a 387 is, it's a cheap crank balanced to Windsor rods and a Fox body piston. So that's gonna be pretty cool, man. Just follow along on the channel because we're about to finish this up. You know, with the piston rings, and you know, I'm really gonna focus on it this week because I had a lot of things going on last week. Plus, we had this, you know, we had a holiday, and I had the swap meet I was going to this past weekend. I had my kids, so it was fam time. So, you know, got a chance to go with my kids to the swap meet, so it was really cool. Spent some time with family. But this week, I'm really gonna hammer down on the 387. We're going to figure out what cylinder head we're going to run with as well, and we're going to get it finished up. We got to get it in a car. So, no 351 for me, Neil. I have it's fine. I'm just saying in general, like when it's time for another block and you want to step into something different, 351 Windsor is definitely one you want to run with. Hey, Neil, what's up? Love the informative vids. I appreciate that. The 351 it uses the same motor mounts as 302. Yeah. Can you de-stroke a 351 and spin a little more RPM? For how much it would take to do that, it probably wouldn't be worth it. You see what I mean? A 351 or a 357, you get. I made 700 wheel on a 357 that I just showed you the bent rods a couple live streams ago on a Windsor rod. That's why I'm not really worried about that cheap China crank or whatever crank that is with the Eagle, because the car's only going to make so much horsepower anyways on them and them rods to begin with. Yeah, the compression would be through the roof, Super Dave. 351 versus A2 deck budget. Okay, so 351 versus A2 dart block budget. Well, first of all, a dart block would be like $2,500 just for the block itself. So you could do a 351, 387 build, 393. Guys, consider the fact that you could make a 393 stroker block and have it bored over and have a nice little bore in it. All you need to do is find 330 over 302 pistons. If your 302 is already 30 over and the pistons aren't messed up, you could reuse a 302 piston, 30 over pistons in a 351 and use the Windsor rod and this crank I got over here, bore the block 30 over and have a 393. I mean, budget, 393 is budget too, but it consider the fact that you got to already have the pistons and then you got to have the block bored. So if you don't have the pistons, it's $600. If you don't have, if you need to get it bored, it could be anywhere between $300 and $500. So it's an extra $1,000. So I say 351 best bang for buck. I agree with that. How much heavier is a 351 motor fully dressed compared to a 302? Going to say fuel injection also. I would say, like, if I had to guess, it'd be around about 75-ish pounds, which is kind of a lot. Ish. Basically, when I asked HP rating of the block, they told me that they can't give me a max rating, but I said it's normally not their block that failed. It's true. So, yeah, so Junkyard picking, like I said, you know, the 351 roller, you can get anywhere between 150 and $300. Gears from an Explorer, 31 spline diff from an Explorer, you can pick that shit up for $30 for the, you know, the gears, and probably $45 for the diff. And the diff is 31 spline. So all you got to do is, you know, is put it right into your foxbody, and you got to buy aftermarket axles though. There's nothing Junkyard that you can switch in there. The 19-pound injectors on the GT40 intake are better injectors than you have stock. If you're running stock or running like an FMU, Contour fan's probably one of the best ones. It's like $25. It's like the best fan you can buy on the market. Period. Ranger axles, if you're trying to 5-lug swap, $35 a pair. 2 driver sides. That's Junkyard stuff. SN95 spindles, even 96 to 04. Those spindles work pretty well too. You ever wonder, like, why the SN95 spindles are always the ones that were like the ones that everybody wanted? Because didn't they claim, let's myth bust this for a second. Didn't they claim that 94, 95 spindles were better for the Fox body swap because something to do with the bump steer, right? Like the factory bump steer, like the ball joint, whatever. You didn't have to run the factory bump steer, right? Am I right? Now consider the fact, and hear me out. Now consider the fact that 96 to 04 front spindles, and I'll pull one out here. Where do I have them at? And what I'm talking about, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, is the 96, 94, 95 spindle has this little notch in it, right? See, this is the 94, 95 spindle. It's way different than the Fox body one. You know, the hub bearing rides on it. You got your caliper bracket bolts, etc. But look at the notch here, right? And this is what I'm talking about. This is like the main difference between a 94, 95 spindle and a 96 to 04 spindle is this arm doesn't go up. It comes out and goes straight, right? But I was sitting there thinking the other day, I'm like, I was messing with these spindles. Cousin Paul was cleaning them up and we were kind of tinkering with them a little bit. And why would that make any sense that the, you know, knowing that I have like 3 bump steers on my Mustangs, when I put the bump steers on my Mustangs, I had to space out that ball joint, that lower ball joint QA1, whatever, like I had to almost use every space. I had to use every spacer that they provided in this location right here. You see what I mean? So, you know, the ball joint goes up in here for your tie rod end, right? So the QA1, you know, on the factory, you know, on the SN95 one that I had, and even with, I think the foxbody one has this curvature in it, like it literally had spacers in it like this long. So wouldn't the 96 to 04 spindle be better to use than a 94-95 spindle? Because you wouldn't have to use, you could almost put the 96 to 04 spindle, like not use a bump steer at all. And it would be, you know, it wouldn't put your tie rod in or your rack more at an angle than if you just hook that up. Like wouldn't the 94-95 one be worse? Think about bump steer and think about if anybody's hooked up bump steer versus like just hooking up your factory ball joint to it would put the ball joint up high. You know what I'm saying? Versus putting the 96 to 04 one in. For aftermarket, okay, so 96 to 04 were for aftermarket K member with bump steer. But you probably, but you wouldn't have to run a bump steer because that angle's not there. Is the SN95 diff 31 spine? No, it's 28. Paul Garcia, hey Neo, so I heard 94-95 work best with factory K members. Okay, and the 96 to 04 work. Okay, so there's your answer. So apparently the 94-95 spindle, the reason why it's so sought after is because it works really well with the factory K member with the rack. Now, apparently if you run an aftermarket tubular, it doesn't matter, right? Is that what you're saying? Apparently it keeps the same geometry as the stock spindle, but isn't the 96 to 98 better since you would have to drive? So the 96 to 04 would be better if you had an aftermarket K member, or it wouldn't matter. I know you have to wind the tie rods out an inch or so when you do a 94 to 95 swab. Correct. Cody Cavender. So the Mountaineer motors and gears, if you find a V8 Mountaineer, you could take its gears, its diff in the rear axle, its heads, its intake, which already has the injectors on it. You could even modify the throttle body to fit in your foxbody. It's a hell of a mod. Drop, not drive is what I meant. Okay. The knowledge you have is everything is very impressive, buddy. I appreciate that, Lamar. I'm just thinking as a tech, you know what I mean? You know, it didn't make any sense. There had to have been a reason why. Why is 94, 95 spindles the most sought after spindle versus the 96 to 04, when the only difference is the notch for the angle for the tie rod? And somebody, like I said, somebody just said here in chat that it was because of the differences in K members. Regardless, bump steer changes the game for steering anyway. So if you're getting ready to do, it's probably one of the better mods that I did, to be honest with you guys. You know, when you start dropping your car, setting up stance, and you change over to K member, when you buy the rack, whether it be the manual rack or you buy a new rack or put your old one back on, to be honest with you, especially if you're running coilovers, you should put a bump steer on it, because seeing what I seen in my cars and running as fast as we did with the black and the white car in, you know, single digit cars, and looking under the car, learning as we go here with the bump steer and seeing my tie rod just like literally sit at like a 15-degree angle. Yeah. The car lifts going up down the track. So I can only imagine how towed and messed up my whole front geometry was. So moving on. Wheel offset is different from 94, 95 than 96. And then you say wheel offset. So you're saying that the 96 to 04 sticks out further, or how would that be? Because of the machine surface here and the hub bearing? Stayman, doesn't the 96 and up push the tires out further? Okay, so there we have that. We have that. I appreciate that, KP. See you later, man. Okay, so wheel offset is different from 94, 95 than 96 and up. Okay. Jason Herrick, will GT40P heads make decent power on a 351? They will. Got it. So 96 and up, we'll stick the wheel out further. So that's when you got to start paying attention to offset, correct? So like when you're ordering wheels, I would assume that a lot of people already have wheels. But if you're doing a 5-lug conversion on a 96 to 0, if you're doing a 5-lug conversion on a Fox body, and you haven't bought your 5-lug wheels yet, consider the fact that you can find 96 to 04 spindles pretty easily. Hell, there's 6 pairs at the U-Pullet that I was at just a few weeks ago. Consider the fact that you can order wheels that specifically fit 99 to 04 cars and put them on your Fox body, and they already come with that offset in the front. I'm just theory crafting here. Am I right? So it's a 1/4 inch more on each side on 96 and later ones. So you would order your wheels based off of your 5-lug swap. Is that better wording? So if you put the 96 to 04 on your Fox body, you probably can get away with not putting a bump steer on because of the angle of the tie rod. You'd have to adjust the tie rod. But then you could order wheels that fit those spindles based on the front wheels, back spacing. You couldn't get away with that when you cheated the rotors on the front of the Fox body like I do with my black car because the offset was so deep. Consider it. Tyler Wright, will 01 Explorer heads and headers work on a Fox bodies? Headers, no. Heads, yes. So I'm just theory crafting here. So it's kind of like something that, you know, when I try to make content here on the channel, you know, as boring as some of it may be to some people, and it's not super exciting, some of the tech stuff that I like to get into is theory crafting. And then that's one of them that I was literally sitting there watching the football game thinking about spindles. I was just saying just today, I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't make any damn logical geometry sense. That wouldn't the 96 to 04 be better than the 94 to 95 if you're taking into consideration the angle of your stock tie rod versus a bump steer? But it does make sense with the different K members and the wheel selections with the offset being a little bit further out. It makes sense. Hell yeah. Good work, boys. Theory crafting. And this is why I like to have chats, live streams, because it allows other people that know, you know, about Fox bodies to chime in, and people that don't, they can learn from it. So big shout. There's a video, Neo, talking about computers. I'm debating on trying to get a Terminator X, but it's the best option. I got 04 Roush wheels on my SN95. Did you have to space it? What's up, War Admiral? It's good to see you, man. You guys that know who War Admiral is, go follow him over on Instagram. I think he's on YouTube as well. I'm not sure, Tom. Tom's got that. What do they call your car? A triple crown? It's pretty awesome. What was that? The Mustang. What was that? Mustang Source. What magazine was that? Okay, I'm entertaining the 351 thing. What's the ideal long block to search for? Okay, so, Mike, if you're going to look for the ideal, okay, so if you've already got a camshaft, a roller camshaft, try to find a 94 and up block. It's an F4 TE block, 351 Windsor roller. You could use the camshaft that you already got. If it's mild, it's fine. It is what it is. You can build, if you already have a 30 over forged piston, then you could just pay you could buy a cheap crank. You could pay a machine shop to punch the hole out 30 over on a 351 Windsor roller motor. There's a lot of things that you can do with a 351, production block. I mean, hell, we're still running one in my white car, and we've been, well into the 5s with it stick shift. So. What year, make, and model? 94 to 98 would be the ideal. Now you can use, listen, Mike, you can use whatever Windsor block you want. Matter of fact, some of the older ones got a lot more nickel content in them, make them a little bit stronger. But to be honest with you, it is what it is. It's kind of like the whole, the metal 50 years ago versus now. It's probably different, I'm sure. But anyways, the camshaft thing, you got to get the, you got to get the machine shop to actually machine the roller cam lifters, dog bone retainer, or you have to buy link bars. Like link bars are like $600 though; they're expensive. Mustang hub and Ford Mustang. Okay, so that's who picked you up. That was pretty cool. That was on Facebook too. What's up, Ford Tech? It's good to see you. So, anyways, that was a good one. I mean, that was one thing that I wanted to hit you guys up with today was this 94, 95 spindle versus the 96 to 04. To be honest with you guys, if you're doing a 5-lug swap on your damn Mustang, don't worry about it. The bump steer can correct whatever it needs to correct. As far as, installing these in your Fox body, consider the 96 to 04, as is said in chat, which I did not know, by the way, that they stuck out a 1/4 inch, which a 1/4 inch isn't really that big of a deal to me. But some wheels don't have a good back spacing on the front, so I could see how that would stick out in the front and look a little obnoxious. Definitely wouldn't be interested in that as it is. But where are we at? We got about another, we'll talk tech here for about another 10 minutes or so. I mean, we're going to talk tech the whole live chat, but I want to get into Fox Days of Christmas as well. I want to reintroduce it. I want to talk about a little bit where it comes from, how it's funded, and what's some of the stuff that we're pretty much going to, I'm going to go through my list here that we made and might add some stuff to it. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Summit link bar lifters are great lifters made by a good company. Okay. That's good to know. What's the price tag on those? Tommy Davis, are the 9495 50 fuel rails an upgrade? Yes. Actually, it's good that you said that, Tommy, because I just bought, it's funny this shit come up in chat tonight. I just bought a set of factory fuel rails from an SN95, which is going to take a little bit of swapping around to get to work in Dad's GT40 motor. You guys know Dad's GT40 motor's got the production Fox body rails, which are fine, but you get to a certain wheel power and your rails can't keep up. The nice thing about an SN95 fuel rails, which we talked about last week, where that? Right here. You probably I picked them up for $15, and they had a regulator on them from Summit as it was. That regulator was worth double what the rails were. But you can put an SN95 fuel rail on a Fox body intake, obviously, because they're both an 8.2 deck, the same damn motor. But the nice thing is you don't get as much back pressure at the injector in the rails, or there's more volume in the rails, so you don't run out of fuel in the rails as much. So, hell yeah, it's a damn good upgrade. We're going to be doing that video on the channel. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to be able to see how much more of a upgrade it is. You know what I mean? But definitely the 50 SN95 motors, if you can get your hands on a set of SN95 fuel rails, hell, I think they're on the Mark 8s too as well. Mark 7s, maybe? I don't know. Definitely good one, Tommy. A good set of Hydro Link bar lifters for 321s are nice. A good set of Hydro Link bar lifters makes a 351 blocks nice. That's correct. We were on the Morels, and I have a set of Trick Flows in the 363. So it's going to be, hell yeah, it's going to be a good Christmas, Lamar. Jason Alexander. So I need to grab 94 to 98 V8 spindles and rear end from a 4-cylinder conversion. Okay, so if you get, it's 94, 95. It's only a 2-year thing. If you're going to get 96 to 04, consider the fact of what we just talked about with the the spindle bringing it out a little bit further. As far as your rear axle, you got a lot of rear axle things that you could do, Jason. You can do the not Mark 8 axle, but you could do the turbo coupe axle, which already has gears in it, but that's still 4-lug. You could take an 8.8 Fox body rear axle and convert it to a rear disc using the same brackets that are on the SN95 or New Edge Mustang that you pulled the spindles from. So Ford Tech, what are your thoughts on Pro Comp aluminum heads? Send them. I've heard good things and bad things about the heads. You know what? Maybe just have them checked at the machine shop or just bolt them on. Pro Comps aren't that bad. They're not terrible. Good. I have a 95 GT just dropped in the local junkyard. You better go get you should probably pull that axle. You should get those spindles, get the brackets, get everything that I just did in the video, get the fuel rails, get the tank and the fuel pump. I mean, just go through my list here. Get the fan, get the seats, front seats if they're in decent shape. Get the rack. See what I mean? I got all that stuff. If there's an SN95 Tommy that just dropped in your junkyard, get the rack, get the axle, get the seats, get the fan, get the fuel rails, and get the fuel pump hanger if it's in good shape. You know what I mean? I mean, don't bother dropping a tank if it's rusty and stuff. So if using spare tire wheels for drag fronts, what size tire do you run? I wouldn't suggest running spare tire wheels at all, unless they're the aluminum ones, which those are kind of rare to get. But what we always ran back in the day was, that's a 17-inch wheel or 16-inch wheel, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like a 170 by 65 by 16 or something, but probably wouldn't run those spare tire wheels. You can get cheap SVE wheels. You can get cheap VRM. I had my eye on a set of VRMs, which they actually look pretty cool for being a cheap wheel. We got here. Just beta time. What's up, Gore for Broke? How we doing? Lifters are $535 on sale normally. Okay, so that's who makes the ones. Okay. I did 85 SVO spindles on a fob log. Kyle Dennis, what's better for a race setup, MLS or traditional head gaskets for my 387? I would probably suggest going with an MLS because a 387, one of the major issues a 387 has, as we already know, is the fact that it has a really tight quench. Obviously you just talked about that with a 45 thickness. That's like a normal thickness of a normal head gasket. We actually bought Cometics for that very reason. We already knew we were going to run boost, but we got MLSs because we were able to step into like a 65 thickness gasket, which kind of lowered the compression just a tad. You see what I mean? So it's going to help us out a little bit. Jason, I appreciate you answering so many questions for me. That's what we're here for. Hot Rod Nation. Hey, Neo, found 96 van with a V8 or 5.8. I've never pulled motor from a van. Is it hard to do? Yes. Saws all the front. Pull it this way. It's not easy. The motor that's in my white car came from an E350 van that was a work van or whatever. It had ladders and shit all over it. But, we had to actually physically take the radiator out and cut the core support just so we could work on the damn thing. It just wasn't. I mean, you could pull it out, but why make it harder for yourself? But I would definitely, if it's good, if you check the oil and it moves around as far as like the crank and stuff, it's probably in pretty good shape. So I definitely would consider not letting that thing go, get crushed, etc. So anyway, so we talked about swap meet today. What we did this past, I actually made a video, so make sure you guys watch it. We did more of a vlog of it, so it's going to be like a long video, but I take you through the swap meet that we had this past weekend. I really appreciate you guys check that video out that I got coming up this week. We actually raced the back of the track as one of the last races. And what I'm actually going to do with this video is I'm going to introduce all the races that we're going to be at next year. I would highly consider, if you guys are interested in at least checking out the no prep scenario here in Ohio, that you check out that schedule, maybe pop in on one of the races if it's a couple hours from you. It's all over Ohio and such like that. So Can I get the part number from those MLS gaskets? Yeah. The ones we got from the 387, I'm a dealer with Kinetic. So they're about 150 each, something like that. I don't know. Maybe they're 100 each, but they're 65. Yeah, 51. I don't know why I thought he went 61. That's the part number to that one. Kinetic. We haven't put the head gaskets on yet because we haven't figured out what cylinder head we're going to put on the 387. We talked about putting the Windsors on there, but we ended up getting our fingers on a couple other things and cylinder head wise, and we may end up switching the head right at the last minute, the cylinder head. Jim Bach, I have an 88 Fox body with vibrations at 2,000 RPMs. Changed the harmonic balancer and it still has a vibration. Check the U-joints. U-joints are probably bad. You're not going to be able to tell if the U-joints are any good if the car's sitting on its own, under its own weight. If it clinks at all, put it in reverse, put it in drive. Put it in reverse, put it in drive. If you're hearing clinking, you know, a bad U-joint will cause vibration or a bent drive shaft. What's a good intake budget for a 351 Windsor? I'm carburetor right now. There isn't one. I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't want to hurt your feelings. You actually have to find a 351 Windsor, you know, lower, upper, lower setup, Spider setup. I think Spider is probably the best you can get right now. I think it's still 650, 750, 800. That's one of the major hurdles with a 351 Windsor is there's not really anything budget that you can just slap on the car and just go with it. You're welcome, Hot Rod. So, I mean, you can get GT40 lower, but I mean, the GT40 lower is 750 anyways, because it's a Lightning lower. So there's really no budget ideas for a 351 Windsor when it comes to intake. They don't have the options like GT40 where you can, you know, hog out, port the shit out of a GT40 intake and get some good life out of it. So steering, power steering hooked up the truck front dress up for, okay, nice. Transmount probably too. I would like to keep the carb and get the Barry Grant Demon. Matt, I almost got it out, but day 4 tomorrow because I can't cut it. Lawrence Adams, I have a set of GT40 off a friend's Lightning after he upgraded, going natural at first. Yeah, so those heads are really good. Super good, super good. All right, so we're at an hour. Not that I'm counting, but I do like to talk about, you know, we can continue talking tech for sure, guys, but we're going to get into a different topic here in a second. On my 5.8 lower, I had a match to the truck 5.0 upper and pattern. Okay, so there is, if you really want to get budget, you could run the truck lower, and I think they make an adapter that can adapt the stock upper intake, which doesn't really do you much favors. But hell, that thing's still $250, $300. I mean, going carbureted on 351 Windsor is not a bad idea because it's a little bit cheaper. But like I said, a Spider intake is pretty nice because it's just got the elbow and it's got like a carbureted style lower intake. It's the lower. Like if you get any of the trick flows, all the trick flow uppers will like interchange on the motor. I mean, it's the lowers that are different because they're wider, of course. What's up, last 5.0? Dan Robinson. Nope, the 351 bite the bullet and get the Edelbrock injection intake. Yep. So, I mean, that's probably one of the biggest downsides to going a 351 in Windsor is having to actually physically buy an aftermarket intake. So, you know, you got to buy an oil pan, and then like some headers don't fit, and you got to buy a distributor. And there's just a number of little things, you know what I mean? But once you make the transition to a 351 Windsor, you don't have to buy it again. You know what I mean? Are they all EFI harnesses the same? What do you mean by that, Jim? Rattle Trap Fox. Dan, you had a video of a Cadillac Brembos on the front. What have you done in the rear? Willwoods, be honest with you, but I'm not even going to lie to you. when we get the Brimbos, we're actually going to be doing, that's why the black car's sitting here in the shop, because we're actually going to be doing the Brembo Cadillac upgrade after our kit comes in. And we're not changing the rears. I'm going to leave the rears drum. Most of my stopping power, my bias is 75-25, 70-30 in the front anyways. I'm not worried about it. My car is stopped at 145 on stock Fox brakes with a good rotor in the front. I'm not going to have any worries about this Brembo stopping my car either, especially with the big drilled and slotted rotors like the Cobra style. So you don't need to do the rears, but if you wanted to do the rears, I would highly, highly suggest keeping it budget and just going to the junkyard, and you could pick the rear brackets. Like the rear disc that we are going to do for the channel video on the black car is we're going to actually show you how much we got into it and what it took to convert my axle that's already in the car to a rear disc using the brackets that are in the junkyard. E87 and 93 EFI harnesses are not the same. They made 5 different variations. I made a whole video about it. I actually showed you all of them. Would my GT40 tubular upper work on my 351? With a GT40 lower from a 351? Yes. All GT40 intakes, the tubular, the Explorer, and the Cobra style, they all interchange to whatever GT40 lower, because that's just the pattern. You see what I mean? It's fine. The A50 was supposed to have bigger ports, but I think that's on the head side. I actually have the A50 over there. Go for broke. Typhoon Carb 351 intake has EFI ports casted into them. You just need to get the crap right. But then you're talking rails. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. EFI, not main harness. Yeah, Jim, you're talking about the engine harness itself that the computer plugs into, correct? Dan Woostrak, does doing a Explorer GT40P in my Fox body, been hearing mixed things. I do need GT40 specific. No. Okay. So we've covered the GT40P subject on our channel for many years now, Dan. The best thing you can do is just buy whatever headers that you want to use, and you're going to have to convert your plug wires to a 90-degree boot. That's the best way to do it. Throw some DEI plug wire covers so they don't get hot and melt. Put 90-degree boot on them. You'll be fine. It might lay against the header, but if you got a boot on it, you'll be fine, especially if it's naturally aspirated. Now, where that kind of changes a little bit when you start getting into larger headers like 1 and 3/4 or 2-inch primaries, which are crazy. What's up, Murphy's Law 5.0? What spacer plates work to adapt 302 intakes? You're talking about the ones from, they make adapter plates for that. You're talking about there is adapter plates you can buy for a 351 that'll adapt the 302 intake to a 351. We were going to consider messing with that a little bit too, but it seemed like it was more of a headache than it was anything else. I don't know if I could trust that. Also, roll under your Fox and look at the harmonic balancer. You can tell if they're bad because, yep. Yes, sir. What did Barbecue Mike say? Can you port polish stock? That's correct. What Pimp just said. They're not worth doing. It's a lot harder to do than you could imagine. Just because it's cast iron just sucks the port. Jim, I have a 93 main harness. Seen in your video talking about the harness that EFI on the intake. Are the intake harnesses the same? You mean the injector harness? Yes. 8793 injector harnesses are the same. Speed density or not. Okay, so we're going to talk real quick, about 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the Fox Days of Christmas, so you guys know. Those of you guys that's new to the channel, last year, between me and a bunch of my sponsors, people that are that donate to the channel, You know, Hanlon Motorsports, you know, Donnie B at Anderson Ford Motorsport, Stiflers, Ram Clutch, McLeod. We had a number. You know, I had 417 Fox, my man Mike over there at 417 Fox. He donated a little swag pack. We had a lot of things that were actually donated. Trick Flow. Actually, Trick Flow is donating a possible, you're welcome, Jim, a couple items this year. Kind of talked to them a little bit. A lot of things are changing in 2023 for me, and especially here on the channel. I hope you guys are, you know, excited about that. We're going to be doing, you know, a lot of no prep stick shift racing. Hopefully, we're going to be just doing stick shift racing in general. But I definitely want to start bringing, you know, things to the races as well, like I do here on the channel. Like, you know, I'd like to try to do sponsorships, like legitimate sponsorships, where I can send out proposals and I can get things for the channel for free to give away. Plus, I could get money for like my races, not for, you know, if I win it, so be it. But if I don't win, you know, it'll go to the winner itself. And, you know, Hanlon Motorsports did this on the last no prep race of the year at Rewind at 42. Is he actually put $200 on the pot. It was really cool of him. So big shout out to Hamlin on that last race last year. And I'll be mentioning that in the video as well. But yeah, it was, you know, I'm pretty excited for 2023. We're going to go a little bit, you know, we're going to get a little more, get a little more involved with some sponsors and a little more things for the channel, I would hope. And anyways, so what's Fox Days of Christmas? You guys actually see some of the gifts that we had last year. Every year on the channel, we try to give away some items. You know, we buy some items. You know, we have some items donated to us, and it's all basically because you guys watch the channel, you guys subscribe to the channel. The guys here in green in my chat, they're my club members. It's a monthly subscription that helps the channel out, you know, immensely. We have, you know, obviously we have guys like, you know, Adventures with Super Dave. Big shout out to him. He always hits me up with a $20 super sticker every week when we do live stream. Lenzo Mustang, you know, guys that are part of the channel that donate towards the channel. Actually, all that money stays in the channel, and we give away some things and we buy some things for the channel at the end just to give back to the community. So last year we gave away a whole bunch of stuff. There's actually a couple of videos here on the channel from a year ago. And the actual live, we gave away all that. We opened the presents, and the way it works is, you know, we do a video with the presents, and then we do a video of opening the presents, and then we, you know, I tell you what box numbers they are, and then in the comments you can put that box number that you're interested in, and then when we go live the one day for the Christmas giveaway, you know, we do a TubeBuddy. I have an extension to my YouTube channel here in TubeBuddy that allows me to sort through all the comments. Some of you guys have been on here on the channel know what I'm talking about. But last year we just did like, you know, box number this, box number that, and all I did was filter the word through all the comments using the TubeBuddy, the software that I have with YouTube, and I was able to pick random winners. So it was really cool, man. We gave away a lot of stuff. I was very happy with it. Everybody got their gifts like 3 or 4 days later, and we had a good time. And it's all about giving back to the community, man. So that's what I'm going to try to push for. Anyways, where can I get a red or blue Neo shirt? That's one of the things we're going to be giving away is a Neo swag pack. It's going to have a sweater, a hat, shirt, etc. Okay, so here's some of the things that we had came up with, and maybe we can add to this list, because I'm getting to the point now to where I'm going to start checking this stuff off. Now, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things here. I'm not buying all this shit. These are just ideas, so bear with me here. Fox Days of Christmas. First thing we got on the list as a possibility is a Ram clutch set. Last year we gave away an HDX clutch, or it was a power grip. I don't remember. It was a nice clutch. So big shout to Mike over at Ram for donating that to the channel. That was actually donated to the channel for the giveaway. 87 to 90, 90 to 93 knee bolster. That was that new LMR one. Contour fan from a Junkyard. Guys, I've been looking for contour fans, and I have not been successful. So we will continue to look before the end of the year for the Fox Days of Christmas. We had longer ARP wheel studs, headlight sets, smoked and regular, so we can, you know, that's always a nice thing. I gave away a good set of a real nice set of smoked headlights last year. It was pretty fire. I almost didn't want to give them away. I just wanted to put them on my car. What I ended up doing though is I ended up sanding off all the clear coat that was on my black car over here, and we ended up 2K clearing it. 2K clear was pretty dope. Subframe connectors. We gave away a set of subframe connectors and a set of torque box reinforcements. So that's probably some stuff you might see here on the channel this year. Yet again, Stiflers ponied up and gave us a cross member for a, I think it was for a T5 or Tremec or a TKX. I don't think it was for the T56. We gave away a set of Redline hood struts. You guys remember those? Like, I don't even know why I haven't ordered that shit yet. That's crazy. Dan, welcome to the members, man. I appreciate you membering up. Hell yeah. That's the join button below, guys, if you guys are curious. Hood struts were pretty awesome. Anderson Ford Motorsports, Donnie B here on the channel, he donated a N41 camshaft. Now, with the way that the back orders are and the way that the supply chain looks to date, camshafts might be a little bit tough for us to give away on the channel this year. Don't be surprised though if we pull one out though. TPS spring kit. What was that? Door pin kit. We gave away a door pin kit. It was kind of like a cheap, easy fix for your bump steer kit. Might be something we might give away this year. Maybe a gear set. I think we got gear set on here. Caster camber plates are on here. Door weather stripping. That would be kind of a cool gift though, if you really think about it. If you did the door pin kit, the door handle kit, and the dew strip, the weather dew strip that goes underneath the plastic piece, you know, the one that's always dry rotted, that's got to be riveted in. I think that would be like a cool little setup. Time to pony. I appreciate that, Dan. That goes right to the channel, man. Thank you so much. 340 aero pump. That's a possibility. See, I got like this big map of like Fox Days of Christmas here. These are all ideas. Mosier axles. They may pony up. Carpet. Can't see this stuff. Quad cable adjuster kit. That's not a bad idea. Shifter base. MAF Racing. So one of the new sponsors of the channel is MAF Racing. Where's his shit at? And this is definitely something that I want to buy for the channel this year. Things I like to buy for the channel for Fox Days of Christmas for sure is things that'll help your Mustang. Torque box reinforcements, subframe connectors. We talk about this stuff so much here on the channel that only makes sense that, you know, we talk about that and maybe do some giveaway stuff at the end of the year. But this is MAF Racing's radiator core support fix. Now, if you guys, obviously this looks like a radiator core support. This thing weighs literally like 4 pounds. This weighs nothing. If you watch my videos, you know my white cars one is completely mangled. Tim over at MAF Racing did a really, really nice job. MAF being MAF. They did a really nice job with this. This is Docol R8. Welds look really, really good. You know, you just put your little rubbers down in here and you could just chop your radiator core support off. That's all mangled up, and this will go right up into your frame rails, and you could just, you know, just screw it in. Super light. Look at that. Super light. And you can screw it in, put your radiator back down there, and be done with it. Allows for, you definitely want to keep the air deflector. So you just screw the air deflector in here, and it will definitely, add for some airflow in front of your radiator. But, big shout out to MAF Racing. This is actually going to my white car. My black car's one isn't bad, so I didn't order one for that. But he has opted. This is one of the things is a big deal to me, because how many core supports are out there that are just mangled up from where they get pulled around the yard or what have you. And that's kind of one of those restoration things I think is really cool. Fender covers would be nice. That's a good idea. I'll put that on there. You're talking about when you're working on your car, right? Just like a fender cover itself. Now, yeah, you could definitely make that for sure, Tommy. I had to make one of those recently. That's cool. I like that bumper at MAF has. So you guys want to see the bumper? I'll show you. Hold on. Let me finish the list. So interior hardware kit. That's not a bad idea. Hatch shocks. Yes. Ashtray repair kit. Flaming river rack. That's a little, might get one of my sponsors to do that one. TKX shifter. Banners for the show. So what do you guys have there? Wiper cowl. That's not a bad idea. Rear hatch struts every 5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Dan. That's, I got it on there. Shit. Wiper cowl, door handles, door weather stripping, all that stuff is on this list for sure. Radiator's not a bad idea. They did tell me at, if I got a radiator, man, it would have to be like a Mishimoto. I don't know if I like any other radiator. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Maybe I can call them and have them give me one. Cup holder, center course, console. That's not a bad idea either. Cup holder, center console. Look at y'all give me ideas. Most of the rad supports have been taken a ton of scrapping. Multifunction switch. Okay, so I'll show you what, I don't know if Tim's watching. He's probably not. He's probably busy. But this is the radiator core support. And if you got a GT, I'm making a video about this when I put them actually on my car. But if you have a GT and you want to lighten up the car, I got so much work to do this winter. If you got a GT and you want to lighten up the car, consider the fact that you would lose your GT brace, but you could probably make the fog lights work somehow. You know what I mean? But this is the stuff that he fabbed for me. This is really light too. This is like 5 pounds. This is the front crash support that MAF Racing made. Tim did. This looks like the 90 to 93 version, but I think it doesn't really matter because it just gets bolted up. But this goes in place of your fiberglass bumper. And then the rear one, you have to drill a couple holes, but this one's a little bit more heavier. It's like 7 pounds or 8 pounds. And it goes in where if your hatch or your rear shocks are all rusted out, they probably don't work anyways. So this has a chute mount on it. You don't have to get it with a chute mount, but this is a rear crash bar with a chute mount. It's going to go on the white car. So this stuff's pretty light. These are strong, light, all made from Dokal R8. This looks like it's 1 3/4. Well, wait a minute. That's 1 5/8, and that looks like it's probably 1 1/4. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys this. I did show you this in the videos, but the radiator core support's definitely something I'm getting for the channel to give away because I think that's a really good restoration item. So the one thing I do ask is, if you're going to go in on an item at Fox Days of Christmas, please be able to use it. Don't go in on all the items just because you want to win something for free. It's the same thing that, if you're going to, if you're doing a giveaway, usually I really hope that you would be considerate and only enter one time. So I will be looking at that very closely. My support was so crushed, my radiator was a so black 5.0 badge is not a bad idea, Lamar. me get that up on there. I can give away more and not have to spend as much versus like buying like using the channel's monetization. Instead of buying big items that are like $200, I can give away like 10 gifts that are like $25 a piece. There's all kind of things we can do. We can do whatever we want, right? They put blacked out. Ground effects. Ejecto seat button. I just made one of those. Okay. All right, we got about 5 more minutes left. You guys can still continue to make some suggestions. I got some good ideas on what I want to give away. Like I said, I think MAF Racing is going to give us one of those core supports. I think he's going to donate it for Fox Days of Christmas because I did buy a couple sets of crash supports from him. But I think he was interested in giving anyways. You can't enter yet. So how it's going to work is I'm going to make a video. Just if you guys are curious on how it's going to work, look back a year ago. It's going to be pretty much the same format. We're going to make one video introducing the gifts and we're numbering them, and then we're going to make another video where we actually unwrap them. You understand? So we got a couple a couple new features this year on our Fox Days of Christmas, but when we unwrap them, they're going to be numbered. So then when we go to give them away, we're going to do it here on a live stream, just like we did last year. So there's going to be 3 parts to it. One part, wrapping the gift. The second part is unwrapping it. I know it sounds kind of lame, but it is what it is. I'm just trying to do something, Chris, just trying to do something fun. T45 Magnum drive shaft. Good Speedo also brought 3 so far. What did Andrew say? Oh, welcome back, Hanlon. Feeling better? I'm just kidding. Front springs. I agree, Lamar. What do you say? Fastball racing. Do you think a 351 Windsor 95 block from an F-150 will stand? Nah. Just save for a dirt block. Or just make 800 horsepower and be happy with it. That's what I would do. I seen it, Dominic. Front springs. Sorry, T56. Nah. T56 drive shaft's $800. Yeah, so just keep watching and stick around, Matt. I need a T56 cross member. Well, Stifler's, I think, Hanlon, I think Stifler's is giving us one for this year's Fox Days of Christmas as well. I think let me tell you what, guys. Andrew over at Hanlon has helped me immensely here on the channel. He's helped me with my proposals for my sponsors for next year. He's helped me organize Fox Days of Christmas last year too. He's helped push a lot of the sponsors that he has, a good relations with already. People like Stifler's and people like Ram and people like McLeod. So, he's definitely helped me a lot. So big shout out to Hanlon, Andrew himself specifically, for doing what he can do for here on the channel. It definitely helps me a lot, man. So I super appreciate that. I got that vibration 2000, changed the harmonic balancer, park neutral, something internal. So I got that vibration at 2000 RPM, changed the harmonic balancer, and it still has a vibration even on any gear, park drive neutral. It's probably internal. It's probably, that's a tough one. Got my C6 out. My Windsor got to tear it down now. See what a 325K Windsor tool looks like. Ooh, you'd be surprised, John. Those higher mileage motors, they're not even beat up yet. Anyways, so that's what we got for Fox Days of Christmas. So big shout to Hanlon Motorsports for helping me organize some of this, but also big shout to you guys here on the channel for, guys like, like I said, Dan for ponying up, being a member for a couple months, for the subscribers that's been on the channel for like Nathan Tuck, Man Gear 50, just to name a few. Those guys have been in it for 2 years now. I think, even Dan Robinson's been a member for probably a year now or so. But, all this monetization, this $5 here from Lenzo, $20 from Super Dave, stuff like that go to help the channel, and go to be able to do things like this, go to be able to go to events, and meet some of the subscribers and such. So big shout out to you guys, man, for being part of this channel and this little small channel we got going on here. You have the best Junkyard content. Would love to see more of it. I appreciate that, Fastball. I guarantee you'll be watching and seeing your next move, man. I appreciate that, John. What about you joints? That's kind of something you just pick up at the auto parts store, to be honest with you. Anyways, without further ado, like I said, big shout out to my sponsors. Big shout out to you as the subscribers who follow the channel, guys. Be honest with you, it's here in Ohio. You know, it's cold out, it's snowy, it's rainy. I got a lot of things going on here in the shop as far as things I want to do. I got a lot of content I can push out. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to still hit the shorts. Been hitting the shorts a lot lately just for fun, just kind of messing around with them. Little 10-second, 30-second, 50-second shorts because I know that they're going to be changing that soon. So kind of want to get ahead of the game, sort of. Got the 387 coming, man. Got 387 coming this week. You know, we're going to got that video. We're shooting the video tomorrow, Tuesday, to finish the block. You guys should see that by the end of the week. Of us putting this together. My biggest concern with this 387 was, is it going to hit the camshaft? But we have Big Mustang Cruise in Wisconsin called Cruising for Cure. You should come up. Hey, man, shout it out right here. I appreciate that. Yes, huge shout out to the community for joining the live streams, all the likes and watch. Without you guys, it'd be hard to, yes, that's correct. If there ain't nobody watching, then don't have much of a channel, you know. I mean, it's big shout out to you guys spending the time with me, man. Thank you, Dan, and everyone have a good week. I will see you soon, Lloyd. Thank you so much. This is my favorite YouTube channel. I appreciate that. So anyways, without further ado, guys, get in the garage. The hardest part about wrenching on your Fox body and getting the damn thing ready for next year, if you live in a warmer climate, you're probably driving it year round. If you got one of those project cars that's sitting in the shop and it's ain't moved in a year, 2 years, just take a little bit of time, make a game plan, get on a whiteboard, get the shit together, man. And nothing. Fox bodies on a jack stand. Yeah, you want to be driving them. So I want to motivate you guys to be able to drive them. So, John Elliott, thanks for having us, and you get the ball rolling. Hope that great evening in Seven Fields, PA. I appreciate you. Could give away some stripper glitter. Yeah. All right, guys. So this week, got the video of the swap meet, got the video of the rewind that we did that I actually thought I lost that footage, so it's a little bit outdated. And, of course, we got the 387, maybe a couple short videos. So we got a little bit of content we're going to push this week as we start to ramp up for Fox Days of Christmas. So, guys, I appreciate everybody for showing up. Once again, Walmart, big shout-out to Super Dave for the $20 super sticker, Lenzo for the $5 sticker, and Dan for joining the channel. So without further ado, I want to say thank you. Happy Thanksgiving belated for those that, had a good weekend with, hope you spent a lot of good time with friends and family. So I look forward to seeing you guys this week. Thank you for watching.